Hello, everyone. So I just want to talk about, and I don't know how to really phrase this to be totally honest, but I speak anyway, and we get there. Let's put it that way. But yeah, this is the good thing about YouTube and stuff is you could just have discussions about random stuff and stuff. But I do think it's important to have a discussion about it, and then you can just talk about it too. It's important just to get the discussion going, I suppose. Even just adding to the discussion too, it's important, very important in democracy, particularly nowadays. And that is the society of not talking to each other. Now, people do talk on social media and stuff, but a lot of the old days are gone, pretty much. What I mean by the old days is, when I used to be in national school, for example, you go into town, you go into the local play park, etc., the slides, etc., and you'll come across people that you knew from school, for example. I've talked about this many times before, and nowadays you won't find one that you knew from school, etc. You can walk around the streets of Cavan for an hour, and you probably wouldn't come across anyone that you knew compared to years ago. And not even that nowadays. People just say hello and there's no big discussion. That old tradition in Ireland, unfortunately, is nearly gone. It still exists, of course. Thanks be to God, it still exists. I'm one of them. When I meet somebody, I'm like, oh, Jess, how you doing, Mick, or John, or Mary, or whatever you're called. You talk to them for about an hour. You can't get away from them. But yeah, that old tradition really is gone now a lot in a lot of cases. Not many people do talk nowadays either all the time. I'll just hello and then and that's it. There's not much of discussion. But it's important too, particularly for debates too, and I say this too in democracy, that people have different views, different values, etc. That's important. Of course, everybody can't be the same. Um, and that's the simple as that in life. You can't agree on everything. If we agreed on anything, if we agreed on everything, we'd never get anything done in life at all. It'd be just very boring, and that's what that way too. If we all liked ice cream, for example, and we all liked, I don't know, San Mountain type of stuff. Why wouldn't you? But you get what I'm saying. You understand my view on that, um, but it's an interesting about how people have different views, etc. And of course, it should be valued that people have the views, and they should be allowed to share them, of course. Even though there's oftentimes people disagree with me on different things in the comments and disagree with me in real life and stuff in terms of different political views, stuff I said, etc. But I don't regret anything I said at any stage. Whatever I say is pretty much what I think, to be totally honest. It's not that I'm saying this just because why not? I deeply hold beliefs, etc., on different topics, and I've shared them many, many times on different things. Now, and it's important to get just to speak the truth and speak what you think in your head that's right. Because at the end of the day, what I think is right compared to other people might be different, but I think we can all agree on fundamentals in society, of course, in terms of the law, etc. But people have different values and stuff, and that's important to acknowledge. That's important to respect that too, because take for example immigration. Some people want immigration, unlimited immigration, even though that's reckless and stuff. But they have the right to hold that belief. Simple as that. There's no way of really saying you have no right to have that belief because you have a belief, and that's that. And if you believe something, you believe something, and there's nothing really anybody can do. You can argue till the cows come home, raise different points, etc. But that's a person's opinion. But yeah, it's important to have a debate, of course, about these issues, and important to speak openly and speak fairly. What we see, particularly now, just even speaking for social media and people not speaking nowadays, is very, very toxic environments nowadays. As soon as you disagree with somebody, oh fuck you, and all this language and stuff. As soon as somebody says, I don't agree with this, and everybody's just like, fuck you, you're worse than everything under the sun. You get what I'm saying. People shouldn't be so radical to jump and say, "Oh, you don't agree with me," and get the ban button, etc. But people would have different views and people have different opinions. But I think it's important to just acknowledge that and listen to it. I often do, even though I don't agree with people. I don't agree with people sometimes in the comments and stuff. But I do hear them what they say, and I read what they say, and I understand because I think Santa Mountain said it better herself. To be totally honest, that you have to understand where people are coming from. How did they get to that opinion? How did they get there? I suppose that's the way to put it. Like if somebody says, mass migration, for example, it's a great thing. We should bring in more, even though who would say that, but you understand where they get from, right? Does this person that, for example, own a business that he profits, because he has migrants working there, doesn't pay them as much as say Irish people, or is he? I don't know. Is he just pro no borders, etc.? What's the story? You get why they're getting there. But I do think it's worrying in democracy too that is becoming a reality, that people don't speak enough about their feelings. Not even that in general, just in only life too, meeting your friends on the street and stuff. People don't speak enough And it is a worrying trend in society. And of course, debates too. There's debates, of course, happen online, but nowadays people get shut down straight away for just saying anything. It's not like a free and open debate. And I do believe strongly in that. You often see people say heinous stuff and stuff about me, the comments and stuff. And even though I'm just sharing an opinion, like sometimes people really, really get upset. Like literally, people really cause you to hell and back. Like, let's be fair, just about opinion. Like, it'd be different if I was literally saying to them, you must change your opinion. What I do in this channel is just basically say to people, look, this is my view, and if you agree with me, you agree with me. If you don't, you don't. That's democracy. That's freedom. And I think it's important to have that. And it's a lot of people do feel, particularly a lot of young people have said this many, many times, as if it's fear that causes a lot of people to not speak about things, and it's just fear of losing their job, and fear of losing different things in society, not even the job, other stuff, livelihoods, friends, missing out, because humans, and there's studies done on this before many, many times, like you have two or three people, right, in a group, you have two or three, or maybe say for an argument's sake, five people, right, and there was this test done before, and basically you're showing pictures on the board, and you have, there's a few answers, right, there's a few different options. You have 1, 2, and 3, and basically you have to match that picture to which one you think it is. And usually 99.9%, usually people just follow the flow. Whatever everybody else goes with, they go with. So you don't be the odd one out. And I think that's a lot about society. A lot of people just stick with what the government says to do because they don't want to seem different. They don't want to seem extreme. They don't want to seem out there, or have a different narrative, I suppose, the way it's I'm sure people get what I'm saying. My tonation might not be the best terminology to use, but yeah, it is the way it's going, unfortunately. That's the way it is, and it's going already as we speak. But yeah, it's important to have the discussion. That's why I think it's important too, and I do encourage people, if you're young particularly, speak out if you value something, even if I don't agree with it, that's democracy. I want people, even if I don't agree with you, you should speak out, you should speak your mind. You have entitlement to speak your mind. Even though I could fundamentally disagree with you, you still have that right, and I believe in that right. I believe in freedom. And I believe in the freedom of speech because it's the most important thing ever. Like, literally ever. Because without your freedom of speech, you are nothing. And it's simple as that in life. Your voice matters. Like, your voice does matter. It's the foundation of your soul. Let me know what you think. Subscribe for more, and bye.